Therefore, I'm asking Mr. Ozerov to put the decision of the joint committees for your consideration. He will read this statement of the Council of the Federation of the Russian Federation on the use of the armed forces of the Russian Federation on the territory of Ukraine. Having considered the appeal from the President of the Russian Federation and based on the interests of the safety of the citizens of the Russian Federation, our country's fellow men, and the military staff of the armed contingent of the Russian Army and Navy deployed in Ukraine in accordance with the international agreement and the Autonomous Republic of Crimea, and in accordance with the Clause G, Part 1, Article 102 of the Constitution of the Russian Federation, the Council of Federation of the Federal Assembly of the Russian Federation has wrote the following: to give consent to the appeal of the Russian Federation to use the armed forces of the Russian Federation on the territory of Ukraine until the normalization of the political situation in Ukraine is achieved. Second, this decision comes in force on the date it is signed. I am asking for your support. Do you have any questions to Mr. Ozerov? No questions. Do you have any additions, appeals? Any further details on this draft? No. In that case, I am putting this draft decision on the vote. Those who are in favor on passing this draft decision of the joint committees, please vote. Vote in progress. The decision has been adopted unanimously.
And we begin with the breaking news out of Ukraine. Events there are changing by the hour. The latest, Russian President Vladimir Putin has secured approval from his own parliament to send in Russian troops into the strategic region of Ukraine known as Crimea. Now, this seems to formalize what Ukrainian officials have been saying, that Russian troops are already there. Aircraft have been spotted overhead and armed troops have been seen on the ground. Putin says he is just protecting ethnic Russians in the area following the ouster of Ukraine's pro-Russian president last week. But Ukrainian officials are accusing Russia of an actual military invasion and occupation. Fox News radio correspondent Jessica Gallagher is joining us now on the phone, and she's on the ground in Crimea. Welcome, Jessica. Tell us what's going on right now and the latest about the tensions, and what are you hearing from the Ukrainian people?
Thanks for having me. I basically arrived here in Crimea yesterday, just got in by the skin of my nose. After I landed, armed Russian-speaking gunmen took over the Simferopol airport here in Crimea. They also took over a strategic military airport here. As we were taking the taxi on the way to our hotel, we were also stopped by tanks and armed men. They had machine guns, pistols, riot gear. We were in our taxi, we were stopped, and we were basically had to roll down the window and speak to the men, and I asked if they were Russian or Ukrainian. There was no response. Since then, obviously, we've gotten word at least that Russia has given the green light, as you mentioned, for Russia to basically officially put troops here in Crimea. There is quite a lot of tension, as one can imagine. The average Crimean is very nervous. A lot of people here are Russian-speaking, about 60%. Ethnic Russians here, they're still very nervous because some of them want to look west towards Europe. The others want to look east towards Moscow. So there are a lot of fears. Crimea also, basically, the armed men took over regional parliament in Simferopol, which was where the airport is, and masked gunmen basically stormed regional parliament, took down the Ukrainian flag, and raised Russia's flag. And basically, they said that they didn't want to have anything to do with Kiev, so that there is now an interim prime minister in Crimea who basically says that he feels like his people, the Russian speakers here, are going to be threatened because they speak Russian and they're not Western-leaning, that they want to look towards Moscow. They're afraid that their schools will be closed. They're afraid in general. And he basically asked the Russian President Vladimir Putin's help personally. And then the latest that we hear that the Russian parliament has given the go-ahead. Another strange thing that's coming out of this is that the Russian Foreign Ministry put out a vague statement right after parliament approved the use of troops here, saying that even though Putin has been given approval by parliament, doesn't mean that it will happen soon, which is a little strange considering that we're seeing lots of troops here. I'm staying at a hotel right on the Black Sea, and there are Russian ships that I can see from my hotel room. So a very, very tense situation here.
Now, is the airport in that region closed? There have been news reports that those troops have taken over the airport, and as you point out, they are stopping people along the roadways.
Absolutely. They are officially closed. There was a lot of back and forth yesterday. Armed men basically saying that they were not a part of any, that they were not Russian, that they were just there to make sure that Russian interests were being protected. And then Ukraine's government, the interim president, came out to say, wait, no, we understand that our men tried to take over the airport, but it's not true. Flights are still going in and out. And then we hear from Ukrainians, international airlines, and they say, we can't land. You know, the airspace has been violated. I have colleagues that tried to fly out yesterday. No one is getting in or out of this area unless you're military.
Wow. Obviously, the stakes remain quite high there. I know you're going to be following this story very closely and report back to us about those developments that are changing by the hour. Jessica, thank you so much and stay safe.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you.